But this morning, we will start with a quick recap of yesterday. Yesterday, as you know, we had many of the substantial sessions that countries requested in the original survey. So as a quick wrap-up, we discussed in session 5 yesterday the financing for low-carbon and climate-resilient planning and bankable projects. And we learned from Mayor Bhargav of Indore, India, the first green bond that was issued for infrastructure and how that was domestically mobilized. The investment for the green bond was entirely domestically mobilized, so 100% Indian investment. And the same from Tanzania, it was nearly half domestic resource mobilization, so for the Tanga water bond. And then we also had the Learning Lab from Jaslyn Lee and Marvin Lagonera from the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy and the City Climate Gap Fund. And that's a fund that helps cities to bridge the gap, the skills gap, so that they can access more climate finance. So we would invite you to also take the survey that they put in the WhatsApp group. And so I don't know if Jaslyn is here this morning. Raise your hand. Yes. So Jaslyn, you can take the microphone right there. She has put a survey in the WhatsApp group and will be available as well for questions. So. It's okay. It's working now, I think.
Morning, everyone. Just to quickly mention that I have shared a survey link on the WhatsApp group. So it would be great if you can share your feedback for us to understand your project preparation needs. And you can also indicate your interests, whether you would like to apply for technical assistance from the GAP Fund, and we will reach out to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaslyn. So you can reshare it in the WhatsApp group. And in the group, we've also been sharing photos and many other things, so please do share photos. In session 6, then, we looked at foresight and risk preparedness to reduce for risk reduction and also for resilience. And we had 2 member states. Does anybody remember who the 2 member states were that are in the process of state building? Can you raise your hand if you remember from session 6 yesterday? Which of the 2 presented? Raise your hand. Not you, Alf, because you were the moderator, but which 2 member states presented in session 6 that are in the process of state building and are investing to reduce their risk despite conflict? Yes, I heard one there. Somalia, and the other one? South Sudan, yes, exactly. Thank you very much. So we had 2 representatives that talked to us about how in their context they are advancing towards risk reduction using foresight and improving data collection as well. We also had the virtual island of Penang that was introduced. So as a new way of leveraging data and digital government to ensure risk reduction. And then we learned about how risk reduction can also be advanced with data and digital government through the Thailand example from Bangkok Metropolitan City and Toyota, the Mobility Foundation that is working with them to reduce traffic accidents and improve road safety. In session 7, then we talked about intergenerational cooperation, all generations. And we all participated in a group exercise and talked about the Summit of the Future and what it means, what the year 2050 will and can mean for us, depending on different scenarios. And we had an introductory presentation from UNDESA, and then we had our youth advisor from the new UN Secretary General's Youth Advisory Group on Climate Change, Ms. Farzana Farouk Jumu, who introduced us to what youth can do in terms of governance and how to include youth more in the governance process in a participatory and inclusive manner. We then had the Deputy Mayor of Toyota City, who introduced us to their efforts to leave no one behind in Toyota City with Junto's organization of youth. And then we had our group exercise where we learned that almost half of the room looks at AI as a key potential that can go either way for the future in terms of risk when we crafted our ideas for 2050. And then we also talked about how we need to include youth in governance in those group sessions, and how potential for 50% renewable energy, one group said, by year 2050. Other groups brainstormed 100% renewable energy by year 2050 with new technologies and battery power advancements. Lastly, we went over to session 8, where we learned about the country experiences in implementing multi-level governance to advance the SDGs. And we had an introduction to learn what is multi-level governance, what are the ways we can improve it, and we had the context of Sukkur and Pakistan at provincial levels and their decentralization and constitutional reforms. Then we went over to Nigeria with Dr. Esiet, and we learned about how from the Office of the President, they are ensuring community engagement all the way down to the most local levels to change behavior, and how social norms are crucial to advance multi-level governance in terms of how people raise challenges, not just to the president's office, but also strengthening the capacity of state-level governance, provincial-level governance to respond as well. And then we learned from Argentina the importance of science policy. So in the case of Argentina, at the provincial level, they have engaged professors and into a board for cooperation. And the professors they learned and the different academics were very happy to be engaged in SDG implementation. So the science policy society link was also highlighted yesterday. Session 9, we had the honor of launching 4 voluntary local reviews from Japan with the Honorable Mayor Ota of Toyota City, Mayor Suzuki of Gamagori City, and the Vice Governor of Shiga Prefecture, Ms. Kishimoto, and Hirosawa, the Honorable Mayor of Nagoya City. Four voluntary local reviews were launched in Japan, where Japan serves as a model for SDG localization for us. And lastly, I just want to say that with those 4 launch of the VLRs yesterday for Japan, we will now open our day today focusing on SDG localization again, because you're all doing SDGs already. Even before the 2030 agenda was formally adopted, local governments and communities were implementing the SDGs. If you were budgeting and planning and implementing water, gender, or any activities, you were doing SDGs. What the VLRs do is help to take stock, communicate the progress, and create visibility globally for what your city or town or local government or province is doing. So that is how we can, in Spanish we say hilo conductor, the string from the bottom to the top, to show and showcase you and your efforts. So with this, I would like to also note that we have our Toyota Action Plan for Partnerships. And this is the QR code. We will also put the link into the WhatsApp group, but please scan this, because later in a few hours, this is what we introduced on the first day. We want to know what you have learned over the last 3 days, including today, what your plans are, what are you going to do as a next step, how can we work with you? But please submit your plans and your partnership. Will you plan to do a VLR if you haven't done it already? Will you plan to launch a green bond? Will you plan to contact the City Climate Gap Fund, or work with UNIDO and the tech transfer program yesterday, or request something else? So whatever partnership or action you plan, please post it here. We are monitoring the Padlet, and we will follow up with you as well in a few months as we prepare for our continued work together.